Hi, I'm Isla, and today I am going to review Bridle Gossip. So we begin on a bright and sunny day that will not turn into a rainy day. Too bad that no pony's enjoying the day, but that is because there is a hooded figure with glowing eyes digging a pothole. So after theme, we realize that the creature is named Zakora. Believe it or not, I still have my subtitles up, and they did not spell Zakora's name correctly throughout the entire episode. And I guess Zakora is the Voldemort in Ponyville, since ponies don't speak her name. Or at least the apples don't. I mean, yeah, if you think about it, I suppose there is no good reason for the ponies to be scared of Zakora. And I suppose I get Apple Bloom, though my parents are not as protective as Applejack. However, I do feel like kids are overlooked due to their age, and I kinda hate it. Applejack is already being annoying. She's the element of honesty, and she's saying Apple Bloom was cowering like a baby, even though she didn't. The way Twilight is about this whole situation is relatable. I'm her and her friends are my classmates when we see a kissing scene. A zebra? A new creature that actually exists in the real world? However, if it wasn't for Twilight, I would have probably never find out about that. Where is she from? I think season 10 will answer that question for you. But she lives in the Everfree Forest now. Girls, you've conquered the Everfree Forest and found the elements of harmony. I kind of like the irony, though. The plants grow, animals caring for themselves, and the clouds moving all on their own actually is natural in the real world. I kind of like it, actually. And with yet another Pinkie Pie song, we learn some propaganda about Zakora. All of the stuff ponies believe about, but I'm not sure is actually true. Applejack is being a bit annoying again. I hate when kids are treated like babies. I really do. And I'm probably going to say this throughout the entire review. Let's see. Coming once a month, looking in the stores doesn't really qualify as scary, but digging in the ground is indeed interesting. Apple Bloom is too young to get into a conversation? Like, this... Ugh! I am getting mad. Never underestimate the power of children. This is why I hate age restrictions. And sometimes I feel like kids being overlooked for their age can make them do stupid things. Like Apple Bloom trying to prove herself by going into the forest. You know, I have a feeling Zakora is getting treated like a freak just because she is a different creature who's not from Ponyville. Nice though that Applejack cared that her sister is gone, though. Let's see what will happen next. We got to hear Zakora for the first time. She says stuff that doesn't make sense at first, but will actually make sense later. Applejack, the reason Apple Bloom didn't listen to you was because you didn't listen to her. It's called the Golden Rule. Treat others the way you want them to treat you. Though, it was true that the Everfree Forest is dangerous. Even I wouldn't wander off into a dangerous forest like that. I guess while Apple Bloom was wandering off, the ponies were talking about curses. Aren't curses real, though? Didn't King Sombra, I don't know, place a curse on the Crystal Empire to evaporate into thin air? So I suppose Twilight's friends were more reasonable than Twilight this time. So I guess that Twilight's subconscious believes in what her friends were saying about Zakora and magic, since all this stuff was in her dreams. And what will she wake up to? Well, a wobbly horn. It must have became deformed after Twilight levitated the brush, and she can't use her magic with her wobbly horn. Let's just hope she found a cure after the commercial break. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. I guess I can't blame her though, since she only looked at the books that looked like they would have the cure. Since spoiler alert again, she didn't look in the one book that did have the cure. There's literally no reason to not look into that book. The term supernatural refers to things such as ghosts, spirits, and zombies, but the term is related to any manifestation or event that can only be explained beyond scientific understanding or the law of nature. So unless magic can be explained by science or the laws of nature in Equestria, magic is also supernatural. Twilight trusts magic, which is supernatural, so she should read the book Supernaturals. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's a curse, but an illness. Yes, like what Twilight said. So I guess Pinkie got infected too. Her tongue got blue spots, and I guess her tongue got so big it couldn't fit in her mouth anymore? Or maybe it got so long that it just keeps dangling out of her mouth. I don't know. You guys can decide. Too bad there are no comments. So who's next? Well, it's Rainbow Dash, who can't fly straight due to her wings not being attached to her stomach instead of her back. Like I said, despite the lack of comments, you guys can decide on whether my theory is true or not. Next is Rarity, who has more hair than what she should have. And Applejack just became tiny, which I have to admit is a bit of a weak effect, but I suppose the reason the writers did that was because Apple Bloom is now bigger in size. So now she is more superior, and Applejack will now have to be cast in Apple Bloom's shadow. And Fluttershy, well, I would say she's the most funny out of all of them. I just hope I'm not offending someone when I'm saying that. For there are females who do have deep male-like voices, and vice versa. But what I can laugh about is Fluttershy's voice is pretty high-pitched and quiet, and now it's low, but still quiet. I don't know, it's just the voice coming from Fluttershy specifically is funny, and it will be put into some good use in Season 4. We got some fun nicknames for the main six, and I suppose with Spike laughing at Twilight's horn, I suppose it is pretty funny. But it's time for a fight since the main six can't decide on whether this joke is a curse or not. Good thing we have Apple Bloom to make the story move along by running off. I have a feeling that some jokes were made based on Twilight and her friends trying to find Appletini. So the ponies realized that maybe Appletini and Apple Bloom went to look for Zecora. It is nice that Spike is trying to be helpful by looking for a cure, which is actually the book he is reading. Now, see what I mean when kids could do stupid things when they are overlooked? This, right here. Apple Bloom left her sister in a dangerous forest. And on top of that, Appletini is infected. So, at least Rainbow found her in the weirdest way possible. So the rest of the main six do end up finding Zecora's place. It looks like a regular home to me. I suppose the reason Spitty said Zecora stole her song is because she is, quote, making an evil brew. So, we hear Flutter Guys sing for the first time, but thankfully not for the last. She sounds good, actually, and Spitty looks adorable throughout the song. Now, let me just say that the masks, the so-called incantations, and the cauldron would make Zecora look like a bad being, but the mask could just be decoration. Zecora could just be singing a song that is sung in her native or made-up language, and like Twilight said, she could just be making soup. Now, Zecora said about temperature, ponies, and Apple Bloom. Well, first of all, it's clear that we missed something. And second, Zecora could have just been making a medicine. The perfect temperature for ponies. A temperature that they can handle. Whereas Apple Bloom is getting ingredients for the medicine. But, of course, the ponies jumping to conclusions think she's making Apple Bloom soup. So what are they going to do? Well, first, Rainbow Crash and Appletini are going to break into Zecora's home and cause havoc. And then comes along Twilight Flopple, Spitty Pie, Footer Guy, and Rarity. They're going to break in. How did the ponies open the door? No pony shut it. I can't get over the fact of how confused Zecora is in the current situation. It's funny. It's also funny that Zecora speaks in rhyme. The ponies are accusing her of placing a curse on them, and Zecora has no idea what is happening. I can't blame her though, since no pony talks to her except Apple Bloom, who comes in at the right time to settle this. She and Zecora explain that the spell that was placed on the ponies was actually caused when the pony stepped into the patch of blue flowers called Poison Joke. The spell is a humorous illness, and I have to admit, some of the jokes were good. Zecora was just making a remedy for this illness with Apple Bloom's assistance. The masks were just part of her native culture, and she was singing a nursery rhyme in her native language. It turns out that Twilight had the cure the whole time, in the book Supernaturals. She just judged the book by its cover and, well, didn't look inside. Now all Zecora needs for her brew is an herb from Ponyville, which explains why she bothers to come. So what are the ponies going to do? They are going to give Ponyville a little talking to. We get our moral of the day and the ponies' remnants, and that's the end of Bridle Gossip. This episode has its ups and downs. On the upside, we have some good jokes, great new characters, and a good moral that is usually overlooked. And this moral can be useful not only in books, but in actual people too. I had to learn to use this tactic with book series and musicians, and it ended up well. You can even make new friends using this message. But on the downside, we have children being overlooked through their age, zebras being judged by how they act and on the outside, and, well, ponies thinking curses and magic being defined as two different things, despite the fact that curses are a type of magic. It's a bit annoying if you think about it. So I would give this episode a 7 out of 10. Yep, that's it. That's all I have to say about this episode. Do what you can do for this channel, and I will see you next time. Bye! I love y'all.